you are not pushing your limits. When you feel that there is a lack of motivation in your life, I find that the first place to look is whether you are pushing your limits. Are you doing something that requires a lot of you? Many times, if you're doing things that are easy for you, then it is difficult to be motivated to do that. Even though we like things to be easy, we like the feeling of success, the security that it provides. We also, at the same time, like to feel that we're being challenged, that things are not just coming to us easily, because each of us wants to know the extent of our abilities. We want to be able to push and test our limits. We want to see how far we can go without, anything breaking. And I know that that is actually one of the cool things about like my kids. One in particular, my daughter Ari, she is always pushing the limit. She says no just to see what happens afterwards. It's not a sign of disrespect or any issue whatsoever. She just simply doesn't want to go through her life not knowing what will happen if she always is listening to what you say. So for you, you have that same feeling. It doesn't go away, but at the same time, you also understand, well, I know what happens. I've gotten punished before, things that didn't go my way before, so maybe I won't try anymore. And I find that that's actually something that I'm very conscientious of when it comes to being a parent, is making sure that my kids still have a healthy amount of curiosity and that they also understand that it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to wonder why, and it's even okay sometimes to push limits. You do not want to fall into a habit where you just don't push any limits. That you're like, well, every time I strive for this, I get told no. That's not going to work anyways. Anytime you feel like you're using words like always and never, that's usually a good sign that you're not pushing your limits. You need, I almost said always, right? I said you always want to be, but it's true in that sense where you do want to be consistent and conscientious of whether something is pushing you closer towards your goal or is pulling you further away from your goal. And so you want to be able to say, you know what, I've tried that, I understand this, I've learned this lesson, and I've adjusted accordingly. Dr. Edward Bouchet is credited with being the first Black to graduate with a Ph.D. in physics from any university. Which university, do you ask, did he push himself towards going? It was Yale. Dr. Bouchet was among the first 20 to receive a Ph.D. in physics among any race in the entire country. He was the sixth at Yale to graduate with that prestigious honor of a Ph.D. in physics. Now, understanding how difficult things were going to be for a Black man at this time, it wasn't something that he necessarily knew what avenues would be open for him, but he wanted to pursue education. He wanted to go as far as he possibly could, and he would allow everything to kind of settle after that. Number two is that you need to set a clear vision. There are going to be circumstances that each of us faces in our life that is going to be a great reason for us to not try at all. Whether that has to do with where you grew up at, the color of your skin, the difficulties of your parents or siblings or economics, whatever it is, there are going to be lots of reasons for you to be able to say, this is why I didn't try. But there's still always going to be reasons for you to keep going as well. What you want to do is you want to be able to set yourself a clear vision. It's been spoken, but the general understanding is the person who has a vision of where they want to go, that person is always going to beat the person who has no idea where they're going, where they're just ebbing and flowing with the environment. And when they have a good day, it's usually because something good happened that day. And when they have a not so good day, usually something that they didn't want to happen happened that day. But you want to be so consistent because you have such a clear vision. You know exactly where you are going and you're consistently taking steps towards that, that it gives you the ability to bounce back from a lot of setbacks others face. When you want to be motivated in life, you're going to have to be able to, like I talk about with superheroes, you want to be able to get up when you get your face kicked in. Superheroes have motivations. Now, their motivations usually have something to do with not being able to help someone or, some tragic event in their life. Now, I don't want you to have those events, but I do want you to understand that you have to have some intrinsic motivation that is deeper than the events that are happening in any particular day. That is how you're able to stay motivated for your entire life. We refer to that as having that general why. Whether you have a why or a goal, you need to have a clear vision. Is your vision as clear as Batman's, that you just do not want someone else to lose their parents due to crime, to the point that you're willing to go out there and take care of business on your own? Is your vision as clear as Spider-Man's in the sense that you know with great power comes great responsibility? And you understand that if you don't do what you can, then it could have a negative impact on those that you love and care about. These clear visions that they have, this mission that they have put themselves on, helps them to keep going when the day is not theirs to win. But they know that as long as they have air in their lungs, that they owe it to themselves and the people that they love to be able to get up and to try again. You want to have that clear of a vision for your life purpose because it's going to guide you. And you find that ultimately, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in life, if you're staying true to your purpose, your mission, your soul, then the physical world of things, they always work their way out. They always come towards you. But you want to make sure that you're not just chasing the money. That's easily the quickest way to not get any. You want to be chasing that purpose, that vision that you set for yourself. As you guys are aware, my vision is to make sure that black wealth does not hit zero in the year 2053. I find that that is a variety of things that need to be done, from education and exposure to different opportunities, or whether that's understanding that each community has to be spoken to in a slightly different way for it to resonate with us, right? A woman's commercial is not going to be the same as a man's commercial. A commercial on the Travel Channel is not going to be the same as a commercial on ESPN. There are going to be different groups, different demographics, and then you have to cater your message accordingly. So it's important that I want to get us more involved in the market, more involved in insurance and investments and understanding all the opportunities that are out there. Well, that means that the message has to be brought to my community in a way that resonates with them. And so that's what I'm out here doing every day. That is my clear vision. And I'm doing a variety of ways to get there. And it helps me because even if I lose today, because I have the clear vision, I know that I can take a slightly different approach tomorrow and still get the result that I want. And it motivates me significantly in life. Number 3 is you want to understand why you're procrastinating. You often find that people who have a lack of motivation in their life, in addition to not having a clear vision, in addition to not pushing their limits, they generally feel overwhelmed. They don't know exactly what the first step should be. They know they have a vague idea of where they want to get to, but they're not 100% sure how to get there. Do I take one step here or 2 steps there? And so what they end up doing is basically what happened to me in 2019, where you have a bunch of bridges going, where you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You're building your bridge out, and then you're like halfway there, and you're like, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's going to get me where I want to go. So you walk all the way back, and then you start another bridge to get from where you are to where you want to be. And then you maybe get 75% this time, and then you stop. And you're like, but I don't think I calculated or considered this very well. So then you come back, and then you're looking at it, and you're like, okay, and then you have another bridge that's like 25% of the way there, and another bridge that's 30% of the way there, and then you have another bridge that's maybe like 90% of the way there. That was the closest that you got towards accomplishing the goal that you want. But then you start feeling that overwhelm where you're like, okay, what do I do here? Am I ready for this? Do I know what's going to happen next? And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I should prepare a little bit better. Maybe I should spend a little more time understanding. And so you walk back, and then you find more information because you're looking. So you find what you're looking for. And you're like, oh, look, I didn't consider this. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's redo everything. Oh, this will surely save me more time. And you never were able to put your head up and realize that you were 90% of the way there. You just needed to go the extra 10%. The way that I try to help people to get over that overwhelm is you're not trying to create the iPhone 10 in your first iteration. And what that means is you want to be like iPhone in the sense that you're just going to put out the first version of the iPhone, and then you're going to get customer feedback. You're going to get people that said, this is crap and you should change this, and then you take all of that. Thank you, I accept that. Thank you for the feedback. This is good information. And then what do you do with that information? You put out iPhone 2. And then iPhone 2 is a little better, and then people give you more feedback. And like, oh, but your camera sucks. The pixels are bad. And then, okay, so then what do? Well, you make a larger pixel camera. I think the iPhone now, the pixels is like 15 or 20. Like the amount, it's basically one of those cameras that you can spend hundreds of dollars on, and that's in your phone. That was based on the feedback that they are receiving where people said that this isn't working for me. And then you just keep making these iterations where you're like, okay, iPhone 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're like 11, 12. I mean, they're just going to keep adding based on the feedback that they're getting and the advancements in technology. for you to stop procrastinating in your life, stop forcing yourself to create the perfect solution. I can tell you firsthand that I'm probably going to look back at some of these videos in 5 or 10 years, and then I'm going to say, man, that was a horrible video. I can't believe I posted that. But I also know that that's what's required. That if I just simply was waiting until I perfected the craft of making videos, to talking and having these conversations with you guys, that I would never post the video. And that's why I committed to doing something daily, is because that commitment is going to force me to make adjustments, and is also going to give me enough experience to make the proper adjustments. Imagine the changes that you've seen by the time we're on, I think we're on video like 53 now, versus when I made the first video. Within that iteration is a significant adjustments. And the cool thing is if I just made one video a week, like a lot of people do, then this is like 1 year, right? That would be 12 months of me waiting, 52 weeks in a year. So video 53 would be like literally over a year later. I'm getting the benefit of getting this information, making the adjustments on my second month, which is really powerful if you think about it. But it's also because I'm giving myself the freedom to take action, and I'm holding myself accountable. Where Dre, if you didn't make the video like you said you would every day, then you got to make 2 tomorrow. If you missed that and you're like 10 out, I think 10 videos is the furthest that I had ever fallen behind. I was just in a funky headspace, and then I eventually got myself out of it, where I said, you know what, Dre, this is how you're going to lose your year. And so then I had to make like 3 here and then 3 there. And one night I stayed up the entire night. I only took like maybe an hour nap at like 7 or 8. And then I stayed up and I was researching and putting the videos together so that I can get within striking distance. Because I want to make sure that I don't end any month outside of the goal that I set of a video every day. And so then I remind myself, Dre, remember what happened last time you procrastinated? You had to stay up all night, and then that still wasn't enough time. Make sure that you stay consistent. Right now I have that experience, and it's really encouraging. And so I want to make sure that you guys understand, if you want to be motivated in your life, then you can't spend all the time thinking about what you're going to do. You got to get up and get out there and do it. And that's what Dr. Edward Bouchet was doing. He knew that there weren't many opportunities that blacks had, even with a Ph.D. in physics from Yale University. I think it was Yale College at the time. And it said that he didn't get many opportunities to teach in academia. And he ended up taking a position at the Philadelphia Institute of Colored Youth, because that's all that was available to him due to discrimination. Now, if he had spent all of his time focusing on that realization that, well, it's not going to work, nobody's going to give me an opportunity, there's nothing that I can do, then he wouldn't have gotten his PhD. We wouldn't be talking about him today. He wouldn't have been able to show the world that a black can get a PhD in physics, and he can graduate with top honors, and he can really provide value. Now, granted, he didn't get to do everything that he wanted, and he's not quite the same as a lot of our previous studies where they end up taking like an entrepreneurial route. As I mentioned before, if you want to be if you're an outsider trying to make your way in, you often have to become a founder. So he didn't take that approach, but he still was able to teach for 26 years, and he was able to positively impact those youth for the next generation, where he encouraged them. They were able to see his example. They said, hey, you know what? Things are difficult for us, but Dr. Bouchet, he's here teaching us with a PhD from Yale University in physics. So who am I to say what I can and can't do? And that's really what our job is. When you're able to leave the world a better place, then you're able to help others dream of a future that they didn't know was possible. And so it's important for us to understand that we're not doing it just for ourselves, that when you know that the actions you take in your life will help the others in their future, then that's a real motivating factor. Number 4, if you feel that you have a lack of motivation in your life, then you most likely have not created systems of success. These systems are just things that help you whenever you don't feel motivated. We don't feel motivated every day. It's really just the truth of it. There are going to be things that happen that are going to throw a wrench in your plans, and you're going to need to take a couple days to regather yourself. But you want to be able to say, okay, even though that this isn't working, I want to put systems that make it difficult for me to revert back to my previous lifestyle. Most of us don't put the systems in place, so you start a good habit where you go to the gym for a week, but then you don't have anything planned for the days that you're sore or the days that you're traveling. So then you end up losing that momentum, and then you have to start over at best, or you end up losing it at worst. So you want to make sure that what kind of systems can I put in place that keeps me from messing up. I generally tell people, If you have a bad day, make sure you don't have two in a row. And if you make that kind of a rule for yourself where you're like, look, no matter what happens today, there is no way that I'm going to allow tomorrow to be the same as today unless it was a great day. It may be also worth investing in an accountability partner, someone that is going to hold you to the standard that you have promised to yourself. It's easy for us to make excuses for ourselves. It's very difficult when other people are involved with us. Another approach that I like is you want to reward yourself. You're going to be able to say, well, how do I stay motivated in life? Well, I already have a goal that I'm very passionate about, that I'm striving towards. It's going to help make the world a better place as I'm chasing happiness by rising to the challenge. Well, give yourself some daily rewards. What little things could you do? Do you want to watch a TV show, or do you want to take a walk? Do you want to buy a video game? Like, what is it that means a lot to you? Like something simple that you can reward yourself on a regular basis so that you're able to create that positive relationship with the journey. You find often that the mistake most people make is they are not enjoying the journey. They have conditioned themselves where the only time that they're able to accept a reward is when it's completely done. And if you don't enjoy the journey, if you really think about it, what you're really saying is, I'm failing every day that I haven't achieved the goal. And so you want to be able to say each step along the journey, the effort that you have taken is a mini win, is something that should be celebrated. And then you're able to be excited. Now you're motivated about your life as you're striving towards creating what the ultimate result is. As I often say, you don't want to be complacent, but you want to be content along your journey. And so, like Dr. Edward Bouchet, you're not always going to be able to have that big splash, but a lot of the times it comes down to what is it you're trying to create in life. For him, he wanted to be able to give opportunities to the black youth by educating, by bringing them awareness to the opportunities of college academia. While he may have not been able to have the same opportunities as his Caucasian partners due to the systems that were in place, he was able to have a profound impact. There are schools and colleges and different awards named after him because of his willingness to do what most people thought was impossible. I encourage you to do that same thing. You want to be motivated in life, push your limits, challenge yourself, and strive towards the greatness that is inside of you, where you're leaving that positive influence, that positive result for generations to come. If you enjoyed this video or the audio, I just ask for you to subscribe, and I would really and truly appreciate that. If you're looking to create or capitalize on your own $1 million opportunities, I invite you to go to forecasthope.com/opportunity, where you can download your own copy of the Lifetime Millionaire Success Blueprint so that you will be ready the next time that your opportunity presents itself. Until next time, I'm Dre. Continue blessings on your journey to become the champion of your dream life, and as always, better self, better wealth.